performance degree or a musical theatre degree. Some people have done a biochemistry degree or an English degree. You're accepted onto the course as a result of your audition, and that audition is both a self-tape for the first round and then an in-person or a Zoom or Microsoft Teams online recall for those people who are unable to make it to the UK for that recall. And our selection process is purely based on the audition process. And very much what we're looking for is, of course, how you engage with the material. Of course, it is important to us, like what your skill levels are in terms of acting and singing. But just so you know that it is as important to us as how you engage in redirection, how you engage in the communication with us, how you think about the work, the song work that you do and the speech work that you do, and how you think about your place in the industry and the kind of things that you'd be interested in doing and developing for yourself. So all of that is as important, maybe sometimes a little bit more so than whether you're coming with a huge amount of experience. So what is the course? Oh, hello, there we go. So the training takes the place of over 5 modules within a year's training. So the year is a 42 to 43 week training, divided into 5 modules. And just roughly speaking, module 1 takes place in term 1, module 2 takes place in term 2, module 3 takes place in term 2 and in term 3, depending on when Easter falls. Module 4, the public performance, takes place in the 3rd term, and then there is a shorter 4th term where you do your research. Because it's a postgraduate degree, there's always an element of a research project, and that is what we call the sustained independent project. So to give you a bit of an idea, that's exactly what I've sort of spoken about just there. The professional practice also takes place in term 1 as well as in terms 2 and 3, and the research, the sustained independent project, we have sessions on that to develop that throughout the year. So we have the names of the modules. I'll talk about them in a little bit more depth as we go through, but module 1 is performance process, module 2 is performance practice, module 3 is professional practice, module 4 is public performance, and module 5 is the research. It wasn't intentional when I developed these modules that they were all going to begin with P and be highly alliterative. It's how it's turned out, and I regret that decision because it always means I forget the names of the modules. But here we are, all the P's, and let's just run through them briefly now. So module 1, performance process. This is basically a really intensive, rigorous skills training that takes place in the 1st term. The performance, what's the difference between performance process and module 2, performance practice? Well, performance process is about you really getting into the skills development and really discovering what you want to be working on, what you need to be working on, how you develop those skills. And then we go into module 2, performance practice, which is more about the application of those skills to specific performance projects. So what is the skills training? Well, it takes the part of singing. So you have a one-to-one training, one-to-one singing tutorials with 2 voice and singing practitioners. It's really important to us that you have a difference, different voices teaching you. You also have ensemble singing. And the person who also takes you through the ensemble singing is also takes you for your repertoire sessions, so developing your rep book, and he also does some musicianship skills classes for those people who need to brush up a little bit on their musicianship and their music skills and their theory. We also have voice sessions, so that is so the singing is obviously a voice session, but that's a voice session through sung text. But voice classes also take you through spoken text as well. It's important to us that the spoken text work is led by the same person who takes you through the singing work as well, just so that you can get a real integrated sense of your voice and how it performs in different contexts. We have acting classes, and those are acting through text and also acting through song classes. You have 2 acting through text sessions a week and 2 acting through song sessions a week. You also have dance classes, and that consists of ballet classes, jazz, contemporary classes, and also tap classes. And there is also movement for actors, which is how your body responds to text work as an actor in the rehearsal space. We are not going to tell you within the course of a year. We're not going to guarantee that we're in triple threat territory. Triple threat is something that I think is very hard to achieve in 1 year, partly because if you're not coming with any dance experience, and quite a few people do come with little or no kind of official dance training, we are not going to get you to a place at the end of a year where you are possibly going to have the flexibility and the strength and the coordination to really classify yourself as an expert dancer. Having said that, a couple of years ago, we had the experience of a young man who came onto the course, and he had no official dance training whatsoever, but he really enjoyed dance. He really enjoyed the sessions. He worked hard at them. He left the course and got a casting for Book of Mormon. His agent, who he got through the course after the showcase, his agent said to him, "Well, the Book of Mormon is a really tough dance call, and you're not going to get through that dance call if you don't have any further dance training than what you have received from the course." However, the dance call said that they wanted him to bring tap shoes, so he basically went online and looked at the tap number from Book of Mormon, spent the weekend kind of trying to learn that tap number, and he was able to do so because he had enough skills gained from the course that he was able to break that down. He was able to identify what the steps were from the video, and then was able to go to the dance call fully prepared, and he actually brilliantly got through that dance call for Mormon. So like I say, we are not going to get you to the place of Dance Supremo at the end of the year, but we are confident that we will have been able to give you the skills which enable you to be able to cope with and cater for a professional dance audition. In terms of the acting skills and the dance skills, the singing skills, we are a lot more confident that we can get you to that you can cover a lot more ground than potentially you can with dance, and I think, very often you may have heard from other people who might say, okay, well, it's a 1-year course. How much can you really achieve in a 1-year course? Well, I would love to say to you that actually you can achieve a huge amount in that period, and certainly through your acting skills and through your relationship to your singing skills and your acting through song, as well as supporting your dance training, that you can achieve a lot. It all, as with all postgraduate courses, it also depends on what you're bringing to the course for yourself, namely in terms of how you engage in the training, right? It's not a training that we just do to you. It's a training that you absolutely actively have to really take part in and explore for yourself and be curious for yourself. If you are wanting a training which is people getting you into a room and shouting and beating you into submission in terms of you developing your skills, this is not going to be the training for you. Yes, we run a very, very rigorous training, but it's completely dependent on you being proactive and really engaging and being curious and developing your skills inside the studio, but also outside of the studio as well. As part of Module 1, we also give you, I suppose really this falls maybe more into the research module, but we give you sessions on musical theatre history and contexts, as we also think it's vital for you to understand the heritage which you are coming from, which one must concede has not always been a particularly inclusive heritage, and the musical theatre canon is not known for its inclusivity, particularly when we think about like gender roles. So I think it's really important for us to understand what you are coming from and how you might choose to represent the industry as you go forward to be theatre change makers, hopefully, when you graduate. There is an assessment for this module, so it's not just the classes, but we lead you to a place where you are sharing scenes and songs and dance pieces at the end of the term. It's a really brilliant, kind of like joyous day that we have at the end of term, where everyone just gets to share their work and share their material. It's a 15-week term as it currently stands, which includes one reading week in the middle. So it's 7 weeks and then a reading week and then 7 weeks. So it's a good long term, but that break halfway through is really useful just for giving yourself a bit of a break and just having a bit of a reflect on the journey that's been made so far. And then you're all ready and refreshed to come back for the second half of term. We go then into, hang on, what's this? Oh yeah, this is just a bit of a structure of the first term. This is a structure that existed for the last year, So ignore the dates, but basically it gives you a bit of an idea that the first 2 weeks of the term are introductions and inductions to the school, to the course, and ensemble building. And then we go into a period of 5 skills weeks in the module. We have a reading week, then we have another 5 skills weeks, and then we have an assessment week, which is basically rehearsal for the assessment and the sharing of the assessment and the feedback for the assessment itself. And then we have a final week afterwards, which is a reflection week. We also do some work on our research module, and also we have some introductions as to term 2, which is professional. Oops. Yeah, sorry, it is performance practice. So performance practice, basically we take those skills we said before, and we put them into very direct application into 2 performance projects. The first performance project, which takes place over 5 weeks, is a book musical. Last year we did a little night music. This year, possibly, I haven't quite sort of come down on a decision yet, but it's going to be, again, Steve something. It's going to be Company. And that gives you the opportunity to really directly apply the skills from term 1 into a performance project, but also to investigate and interrogate how you engage in a rehearsal process, in a longer form rehearsal process. What do you need to do in order to get the things done that you want to get done? Obviously, we support you through this, but it's very much about you developing for yourself what you need in order to achieve success in a rehearsal process. So that rehearsal process is 3 days a week, and then we continue having skill sessions on 2 days a week. Those skill sessions being acting and voice and accent and dance, as well as singing training as well, and that continues. And then we have 3 days, as I say, 3 days rehearsal. And the final week, it's a whole week dedicated to rehearsal. We perform on the Thursday a couple of shows. It's without set. You costume yourself, you prop yourself, but it's in-house kind of like performance rehearsal, performance project, but we also invite an audience. It's not too big, but you know, friends we have within the school, or perhaps a friendly audience that you can rely on for people that you know, like outside of the course. You can invite them in. The second performance project is it takes place over 3 weeks. We will have prepped it a little bit throughout the earlier part of term 2, but also at the end of term 1. And this is where in small groups you get to create your own work and generate your own work. This could be which leads up to a public performance of a scratch performance, which maybe could like 10 to 15 to 20 minutes in length. That scratch performance last year happened at the Southwark Playhouse in London. And we are hoping again to get the Southwark Playhouse, which is an institution which is well known for supporting new musical theatre work. So we really could look forward to try and help you develop relationships with institutions that might support you as and when you leave. Another institution we're looking to really develop relationships with is also the Other Palace in Victoria, which is a fantastic institution for supporting new musical theatre, and also the Other Palace is brilliant at having various like scratch nights or new musical nights or cabaret nights, which we really encourage you to get involved with. The self-generated work is in small groups of 2s or 3s. It could be or 5s if you wish. It depends. It depends on the project. It depends on how many people you need. Last year was the first year that we ran this project. It was incredibly successful, and there were musical theatre pieces that were developed as a result of that. There was more music theatre, so more kind of like a plays with music that developed out of that, and also there was a dance piece that also developed out of that. 2 or 3 of the 6 pieces that were developed as a result of this process are in continued development after the course has ended, which is brilliant. We think it's really important to introduce you to skills where you can potentially, on leaving, develop your own work. I suppose the best example of late for kind of like people leaving a master's program and then developing new work is the people behind Operation Mincemeat. They didn't graduate from this course, but David Cummings, who is one of the founders of Spit Lip, who developed Operation Mincemeat, actually came from a master's program that I ran at Arts Ed. Again, I wasn't running the program. He was there at the Masters at Arts Ed a few years before I was there. But it's an example of someone leaving a master's program going, I want to work with some friends and make new work. They got together with a couple of other people, developed Spit Lip as a company, went to the new diorama, said, we've got this idea of a bit of a scratch we want to put on. It grew. They did a version of it at the new diorama. That then got picked up by the Southwark Playhouse. They went to the Southwark Playhouse. That then got picked up and it went to the West End, and it's now continuing to run in the West End as well as on Broadway. So I don't promise you that you're going to be leaving this course with a Broadway show, but hopefully you will be leaving with a curiosity and with some skills that means that you can potentially with friends that you may meet here or you may have outside, develop some work that might have a future life outside of your program. This module takes place, as I say, in term 2. It's an 8-week module. That then leads into module 3. I'll come back to that in a minute, but leads into module 3, which takes place over term 2, potentially also term 3 as well, depending on when Easter lands, which is professional practice. And professional practice is where we give you an introduction to how to engage in the industry as a professional business. So we introduce you to casting directors, to agents. We give you sessions in how to act for screen, how to self-tape, how to turn up to an audition, how to engage in an audition, how to engage in a dance audition. We also run specific and discrete sessions, which is about you developing your business skills. Like, how do you market yourself? How do you develop a business plan? How do you engage in financial planning? Which I think it's vital that you are able to leave seeing yourself as a business that continually needs to develop. I think one of the advantages of a 1-year program is that actually you can't help but be forced to consider that when you leave, the work is not done. right? There's a potentially an arrogance and an entitlement that might arrive from a 3-year program where you leave and go, okay, great. Well, I am fully cooked as an artist, as a performer, as a singer, as a dancer, as an actor. I think that is not a helpful way to view yourself as an artist. And I think certainly if we think about kind of actors in North America, actually, I think they have a much better relationship to this idea that our training is something that is ongoing process for the rest of our lives. Now, obviously, as singers, perhaps you are a little bit more aware of the need for ongoing singing training. If you're dancers, you're also probably very aware that use it or lose it. And if you're not continuing your dance training and dance experience, then there is a danger that everything goes rusty. It's the same for acting. I don't think we give ourselves enough kind of like impetus and power actually to develop for ourselves a really good, solid, consistent developmental practice throughout our careers. So I think a year's program is good for that, because we go, okay, this is how much we've been able to achieve in 1 year, but you leave and you have to continue that training. You have to continue your interrogation, your curiosity, and your development. Professional practice also as a module includes the showcase. And the showcase is a public performance before an industry audience, which historically has always taken place in a West End venue. And it's an opportunity for you to introduce yourself to an industry audience. Very often there's the hope that representation might arrive as a result of showcase. I think it's also always, which is a perfectly natural desire. I think, be a little careful with this idea about representation, that you're engaging, if, for example, your main focus for coming to Central for this course is in order to get an agent at the end of it. If that's the sole reason, I would suggest that actually you can use your money better. You can potentially buy yourself an agent with the money that you might spend on a year's training here by putting on sort of like specific hiring a theatre for like a small venue for a night, in paying a load of agents to come along, taxi them there, put on a nice little kind of like buffet. You'd be spending less than you would for the price of this course, and you'd probably get an agent out of it. If that's your sole reason for doing the course, I'd say don't bother. You're going to be on this course because you are curious about developing and interrogating your performance process and your performance practice. However, having said that, we work with an incredible industry liaison here at Central, and they have fantastic industry links. And so far in the past 2 years that I've been running the course, we have had in the first year, it was 100% success rate in people finding representation. And this last year, it's a near 100%. We have one person who hasn't found representation yet, but we are still supporting them in their journey to find representation for this year. And those figures we are incredibly proud of. It's unusual, I think, to get such a good success rate, for agent representation at the end of the year. Oh, just to go back to that slide that I missed before, this is just the structure of term two, as was a couple of years ago. It doesn't have this structure this year. That year that we're seeing here, Easter was was kind of like the week of April the 21st. And so we were able to get a 15-week term in with a reading week in the middle. This year, Easter is a bit earlier, so actually we have the 8 weeks of module 2, and then we have 3 weeks of industry workshops. We have an Easter break. We come back from Easter and do the 3 weeks of showcase after that Easter break. In term 3, where we also have module 4, which is the public performance. For the public performance, basically, you are putting on a full-scale production of a musical in most likely, always has been, the Embassy Theatre here at Central, which is a huge. I can't remember the capacity actually, but I think it's over 300, I think, but it's a really good size theatre. I'm sure that if you look on the website, there'll be pictures of the Embassy Theatre. Big old stage, and we're able to put on a full-scale musical production. Professional director, professional choreographer. You're all mic'd up. It's all the full works. To give you the opportunity to really put those skills, those process and practice skills, into good work. The likelihood is as well that we will also give you a swing track in order for you to have the experience of working with swing. It's all the bells and whistles. This last year we did a production of Carrie. The year before, as you're noticing from the picture, a lot of the pictures actually on this PowerPoint is from a production of Follies that we did a couple of years ago. The run of that is a week-long run. 6 performances in all, and the rehearsal period is quite a long rehearsal period. We give it like a 6 to 7 week rehearsal period because it's one of the only times that we can really kind of like give you the experience of allowing yourself to go in proper full length depth into the work. Very often people have the experience of putting on a show very quickly. Those skills are really useful and important to have so that you can work quickly, but we also want you to have the experience of going really deeply with a role and in a show as well. We then look at module 5, which is the sustained independent project, which is the research project. As I said before, that starts in term 1 with context sessions and also research sessions. Basically, it's an opportunity for you to investigate an area of process for yourself or an area of practice for yourself that intrigues you. There are 2 ways that you can perform this research. There is the 12,000-word dissertation, the written dissertation. There is also another version, which is you write/perform a 10-minute artifact, which is recorded. And in addition to this artifact, you also write a 4,000-word critical reflection. Now, that artifact does not have to be a performance that you create. It could also be a series of workshops that you develop, or it could be a video essay. We go through a lot of depth with you, like in the sessions, about what it can be, but it's really kind of open for you to explore and discover what excites you about your work, or possibly what you might be discovering a block or an obstacle in your work. For example, in the past, people have done their research into the nature of stage fright and nervousness before performing. Other people have done work into their relationship with play and boldness and creative risk in their work. And sometimes people go for a little bit more, it's less about their own relationship to process. They may look at the history of ensemble singing and how that has developed within musical theatre, let's say, in the past 100 years. So the world is your oyster, really, with your research. And we really help you find something that appeals to you, that really speaks to you, that's calling to you. And we give you support throughout the year. And also in terms of your project itself, we also give you like a SIP supervisor, Sustained Independent Project Supervisor, who can help you and support you during your research process. This gives you a rough shape of how that term 3 and 4 may look. One of the joys of being at Central is that we are a big institution that has lots of different courses running, all surrounding the arts and the performing arts, and also education in the arts. And I think it's a brilliant opportunity for you to start creating relationships and connections with people who you will be leaving, graduating with, and who also can start to be part of your community, your tribe when you leave. You'll be. We're trying, as always. There's so much going on, like on the course. It's really difficult to do, but we really try to create relationships where you get to meet the movement people, the voice people, the actor trainers, the producers, the choreographers, etc., etc., so that you can start to, like I say, really develop your community for when you leave. We celebrate the individual at Central, and everyone comes to training with their own given circumstances, their own positionality, their own relationship to how they study and how they work. And we are here to really celebrate your needs, your journey, and to individualize your training as much as you need. So we aim to give you all the support that you need to be able to facilitate your training and to optimize your potential. Great. There we go. That is my chat done. Thank you for staying with it, and I hope that's been helpful for you to get a bit of a flavour of what the course is. And yeah, let's. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. I don't know. Do you want to like lead that, or I'm happy to lead?
Yeah. So I mean,
okay, cool.
There are 2 questions in the chat at the moment. So the first one is, how do you cast your showcase? That's the first question.
So the showcase is ordinarily, and there's no reason really to change because it works, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You will do a solo song, and you will perform a scene. You could also perform a monologue instead of a scene if you wish, but usually it's a scene. In terms of the song, you choose that yourself in discussion with us. We could talk to you about what we think could be suitable, might be suitable. What kind of area of your casting would you like to be prioritizing in terms of that introduction to the industry? But basically, we do not cast you for that song. In terms of the scene, that is a process whereby everyone, basically, you are cast by the group. We all kind of cast each other throughout the process. It's so difficult for you as the individual actor to really kind of clearly identify what's best for you, what's working for you. Of course, we can have some ideas about what our kind of casting tends to be, but there's nothing better than actually using the people who know you the most within the kind of creative community here to actually be going, okay, great, no, brilliant, you brought this scene into the room. I don't think this is a great scene for you, but have you thought about this scene here that someone else has brought in, etc., etc. So it's a moving process. It takes a little while. It takes a few days, but in so doing, it means that by the end of the process, that you are in a scene and in a song which really best showcases you. And actually, we're really proud of our showcases. We do really well out of our showcases, and very often the feedback we get from our showcases is everyone seems so well suited to all the roles that they have been given. To be honest, they're not given those roles. Those roles are discovered kind of within the group.
Okay. Thank you very much, Stephen. The next question is, what are the usual age ranges on the course? And for context, I'm coming back to study as an older student.
Right. Well, I mean, absolutely. I celebrate a range in ages, and so, okay, yes, the majority of people that tend to apply will be people who are maybe have just completed an undergraduate degree, perhaps, either in performing arts or in MT or in something else. So the majority of our applicants will be 21, 22, 23, 24. But very often people do come to us later, and it's not unusual that we have people in the current cohort. We have several people who are late 20s, a couple of people who are in their early 30s. Last year, we had someone who was in their mid 60s. So we embrace and welcome a variety of age ranges. Of course, that might bring kind of its own challenges, but we're absolutely, like I said before, we really are here to support the individual in their training process, and so we're super here for that. I welcome it because actually more diverse cohort in respect of age is helps everyone's learning, because everyone's bringing different things, and I'm not going to lie, it also helps with casting for the shows.
Okay, thanks very much, Stephen. Is there anyone else that has a question? You can signify if you'd prefer to switch your mic on and ask the question directly, and I'll be more than happy to do that. Just going to wait for a few more minutes to see if anyone else has a question. Yeah, I think 2 people are typing at the moment. So, yeah.
I know it's a bit one-sided because I don't have a camera, but it would be really lovely if people are comfortable in doing so. Obviously, fine if you're unable to, but to share, to turn your cameras on so I can have a look. Hey, Gemma, thank you. Okay, Lottie. In terms of the application, hey, Lottie, is it sorry or Lotta? Is it Lottie or Lotta?
It's Lotta.
Lotta. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks, Lotta.
Oh.
In terms of the application deadline, the website says you accept on a rolling basis. How far in advance of the deadline would you recommend us to apply? Well, I would say actually the sooner you are able to apply, I think the better, particularly if you're seeking to apply for any bursary or scholarship funding, because there is a deadline on that. I'm not entirely sure because it's not the department that I operate in, but that deadline I think is around April, and so I would encourage people to, and I think on the website the different the deadlines are put on there, but I think there's a deadline in December and January and February. I think I would really recommend if you can get into the first 3. Not only because of funding, but also because at that point I've also really got like an open book in terms of trying to build the cohort. So the later we go through in the audition cycle, then the fewer places I have or we have to offer. Whereas if you're there at the beginning of the process, then we've got loads of places to offer. So I would recommend that you get in as early as possible, to be honest.
Amazing, thank you.
Are the scholarships and bursaries available to international students, students from Asia as well? Yes, they are. Gemma,
Gemma, yeah, you have a question.
I'm probably missing it on the website. What is the if one were to go through the rolling process as early as possible, when is the date by which one would be informed if they have been successful? I mean, following the second round auditions, I presume.
Yeah. So I mean, certainly. So let's say there is. Let's say that there's a December deadline. And I think, let's say the December deadline is the 13th. It may not be the 13th, so don't quote me on it. But that is a December deadline for a potential recall date a month after that date. So once you have done the submission deadline, we try and let you know. The response to your first round, I think within about 10 days. Again, don't quote me on this, but we try and let you as soon as possible so that you have at least 2 weeks before the recall deadline, the recall date, so you have some time to prepare for that. After the recall, again, we try and let you know as soon as possible. Now, that recall may be a yes. It may be a no. It may also be to go on the shortlist, and we do kind of like encourage like a shortlist. Also at the beginning as well, we try not to make too big a shortlist, but a shortlist does exist just because it's really good to have a few people in a kind of like a in a group, so that we can like then choose from the group. But we will try and let you know as soon as we possibly can. Like I say, I try to make offers as direct, clean offers as soon as possible, and I think that would probably be within about sort of 2 weeks of your recall date. For international students, are the recalls also done online? Yes, recalls are also done online. The in-person recall, you'll be expected to be with us for the day, and that involves like a workshop, a movement or a dance workshop, but usually it's a bit of a movement workshop. And we will do your speeches, we will do your songs. Everyone kind of sees everyone's work. We're all in a room together, and it gives you a real flavour of actually how we like to work on the course. The recalls are run by people who teach on the course. The online recalls, we spend half an hour with you, and we get to have a bit of a chat, and we get to also look at your speech and your songs, and you will be redirected in those online.
Okay, amazing. Thank you very much, Stephen. There was one more question that was in the QA, but it seems the person took it off, but it was relating to if it would be like a good idea to apply for the MA. But I guess they've either gotten the answer that they wanted, or
Cool.
Or
Right.
if whoever that was, because I didn't look at the name, but whoever that was, if you still need an answer to that, please feel free to ask your question.
Hey, it was mine actually, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I can
Hey,
also just,
Martin.
because it was very specific, and I can just write Stephen an email, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, cool. Yeah. You're very welcome to do that. And if anyone does have any kind of like very specific requests, you're very welcome to send me an email. You can do that through the admissions email. Also, you can email me directly at stephen.hudson@cssd.ac.uk. So that's Stephen with a PH, STEPH. Oh, do you know, I'll just put it in the chat. Hang on, but when I say that, let me just write it. Please do not send me emails asking about details around admissions and auditions and admin stuff, because I really can't help you. But if you've got any specific queries about the course, the demands of the course, or any support that might be needed for the course, etc., etc., I'm really happy to answer those questions.
So if you do have questions regarding to admissions and the other ones that Stephen said you shouldn't ask him, please do send it to this email that I just typed in. It's openevent@cssd.ac.uk, and anything admission related or bursary related, or when the start dates are, you can reach out to them, and then the right personnel are going to respond to you as soon as possible.
Brilliant.
If there aren't any more questions, then I'd like to say thank you so much, Stephen, and everyone joining, who has joined us today for this MA Musical Theatre Acting and Performance Information session. And I hope this has given you a clear sense of what studying at Central is like, the collaboration, the creativity, and of course, the professional focus that really define the course. And, if you'd like to find out more, I've attached links in there as well, in the chat, how to apply, the audition requirements, and the funding options as well. And we'll also send follow-up emails with useful links and contacts in case you have further questions. And it's been really wonderful having you with us, and we really hope to welcome you at Central very soon.
Thank you. Ikram, can I just jump in actually as well, just to say, Martin, if you did want to kind of like stay online now and to ask me any question you might have directly, I'm happy to do that. But also, if you'd rather do an email, then we're happy to do that as well. Okay, cool. Cool. Great. And can I just check? Ikram, is this being recorded or not? And if it is being recorded,
I would have to stop the recording. Yeah.
Can we stop the recording? Yeah.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Cool. Thank you so much.